Greetings, everyone. This is African historian Emmanuel Kulu, best-selling author Emmanuel Kulu, and you're tuned into the audio of I, Black Pharaoh, Rise to Power, Chapter 2. Take your time, make sure you get an opportunity to purchase the novel, support the movement, join our cause, send us a cash app, help us keep the movement moving. Thank everybody for supporting Ancient African Antiquities Research Institute of America, IBP Media, the Global African Awakening. Please continue to support the movement and enjoy.
The Festival of Scandal. A great celebration took place inside the royal palace. 100 servants entered the dining hall. They placed an enormous variety of succulent roasted beasts, herb-crusted poultries, poached and dried fruits, and char-grilled vegetables on the tables. Special tables held solid gold dessert trays, basbousa, harissa, a variety of cream-filled kanufas, and fresh fried salabayas with delectable dipping sauces on display. Guests were seated around an enormous round table on tiered, hand-embroidered cushions. Contagious merriment spread like wind-blown tree pollen through the dining hall. Enthusiastic royal musicians played darbukas drums, koalas flutes, and lyre harps as they danced in their places. Several royal family members, after too many goblets of spiced sakara, danced and laughed and tumbled down against each other on the polished ivory floor. The pharaoh and Queen Hatshepsut were carried in by slaves on a royal gurney, both wearing royal garments draped with gold jewelry and royal eye paint. The pharaoh wore a royal blue and gold-striped headdress with a gold uraeus headband attached to it. His knee-length kilt matched his headdress, fastened by a golden belt buckle with a symbol of Horus. His sandals were onyx with hieroglyphs of his enemies under his feet. His chest piece was solid gold, which glistened in the firelight of the surrounding torches. A leopard skin cloak attached to onyx silk covered his shoulders. The queen wore a floor-length fine linen sheath dress. The fabric hugged her body as if it were made of elastic. Jewels set in gold, woven into shoulder-length braided hair, defined her beauty. On her wrists were large gold cuff bracelets inlaid with precious gems of lapis lazuli, the most prized stone. She, too, wore a gold uraeus headband upon her forehead, and like her husband's, her sandals were gold in color, with hieroglyphs of Egypt's enemies under her feet. It was not until the royal couple had sat on their thrones, served with food and drinks, that the festivities began. First came the Ethiopian men, who were guests of the royal house. They entered the celebration performing ritual tribal dances to amuse the king and his queen. The Ethiopians wore vibrant yellows and royal blues on the garments tied around their waists. Their skillful musicians played various instruments while they entered the royal dining hall in single file behind the tribal dancers. The sound of the Ethiopian drums and flutes excited the crowd. The men moved their feet to the music with great rhythm. Effortless cartwheels and backflips added dramatic flair to the agile dance performances. One at a time, each man would do his own personal solo dance to entertain the crowd. For the finale, the dancers performed a ritual of friendship and harmony in sync with each other. The crowd erupted with joyful applause. They cheered loud appreciations as the Ethiopians and their musicians exited the hall. Hushed, quiet conversations buzzed through the air. The royal musicians played soft melodies, while servants refilled mouth-watering delicacies and wine goblets. Pleased, the pharaoh and his queen continued to eat and drink and ensure their guests were satisfied. A trumpet blow announced the entrance of a group of 6 women before they came and stood before the throne. Flautists and drummers sent low, sensuous sounds into the air. The 6 seductive women gyrated and danced in a circle. One stepped into the center of a circle formed by the 5, who danced around her. The woman in the center wore a red shawl that covered her face. The 5 women had crouched down on the floor. There she stood, poised and slender like an ebony pillar, while the 5 who crouched swayed from side to side on their hands and knees. The woman in the center curtsied low. As she stood, she removed the red veil. Queen Hatshepsut gasped. She gripped the golden arm of her throne. To her right, she reached and touched the king's hand. "My pharaoh, it is Iset," she whispered. The pharaoh locked eyes with Iset. He nodded his approval of the tall, voluptuous woman whose hazel brown eyes glowed like amber in the light. He approved of her oval, dark, chocolate brown face and strong cheekbones positioned high on each side of her small but wide nose. Full, luscious lips painted with blood-red oil gloss puckered. Her slim but muscular waistline gyrated round and round as her strong, thick thighs down to her calves moved her dazzling body up and down. The men salivated, hypnotized by her curvaceous hips and firm backside. 2 long jet-black hair braids with strands of gold beads reached down to the middle of her buttocks. Her radiance lit up the room. Every man gazed, captivated by her beauty. No one in the celebration dared to look away from her dance. Transfixed by the king's wanton stare, Iset arched her back and displayed enticing undulations as she danced with an invisible partner. High jumps and cartwheels showed strong athleticism. The 5 women who surrounded her hunched their shoulders up and down with their hands on their hips. They kicked forward and kicked back with their feet. The music tempo shifted. Iset lowered her eyes and stepped backwards into her place within the circle of 5. In unison, the 6 women, for the pleasure of their king, had danced a poetic interpretive dance. At the end, Iset bowed a graceful curtsy to the royal couple. The audience stood up with wild applause and cheers. Then she began to sing a song of triumph called "Finally, the Pharaoh Has Come." The song was written by a beloved maidservant during Pharaoh Ahmos's reign. The song, an ode to the restoration of native Egyptian rulership, symbolized the expulsion of the Hyksos from Egypt. Iset's solo voice was spectacular. The other 5 women sang in the background like an angelic choir. Enchanted, the guests sat back down to hear the perfect pitch and high octaves of Iset's melodic song. Her singing mesmerized the pharaoh. He smiled, bewitched by the spell of her sultry voice. She chose to sing this song in honor of the prophesied Black Pharaoh. Her selection stroked the king's ego. At the end of her song, Iset and her group performed a second tribal dance. The pharaoh's eyes remained transfixed on the exotic woman and her movements. Unable to take her then and there, he recalled the last time he and Iset made love. 3 weeks ago, the pharaoh growled and panted. Iset writhed underneath the rhythm of his muscular weight. 2 silhouettes enthralled in the motions of passion had appeared in the background against the purple silk fabric of the royal tent. The flame of their lust burned almost as hot as the fire torch. "I love you," Iset. "I love you," Iset. "But you must swear before the gods and your pharaoh not to speak of our love for each other to anyone." "Yes, my pharaoh." She tightened her arms around his waist. "I will do as you wish and be silent. All I want is to be your queen, my love. You shall be my queen, but you must be patient and quiet." During the royal celebration, Hatshepsut watched her husband's eyes devour Iset. In anger, she cleared her throat and drew his focus back to her side of the throne. "How dare you disgrace your royal queen who bears your son for a lowly Nubian maidservant?" Her sharp tone etched tension into the atmosphere. The guards in waiting heard the accusation and looked to manage their queen's sudden distress, then stood at ease. The pharaoh tried to make an excuse. "I was simply enjoying the celebration." He adjusted his posture. "Mind your tongue. I only have eyes for you." Hatshepsut turned away from him, disgusted. Her glaring eyes focused on Iset. She watched as her servant's eyes, hips, and lips targeted her husband's loins. Unable to stomach Iset's audacity any longer, the queen arose abruptly from her throne and left the celebration. The pharaoh tried to stop her. He grabbed her right hand and squeezed. Hatshepsut jerked away from his power and stormed out of his sight. Unmoved by the queen's tantrum, the pharaoh relaxed on his throne, relieved to watch Iset without scrutiny. His eyes, connected to hers, prompted him to wink their secret signal. Thereby, she knew to meet him later. He whispered to his personal guards,
"When the dance is over, go escort Iset to my hideout. Make ready the usual arrangements."
Iset, no longer concerned why Queen Hatshepsut had left, finished her song with a smile. While the guests applauded their approval, she bowed to the king, then bowed to the guests, and led the other 5 women from the dining hall. The pharaoh clapped his hands twice for his servants to carry him to the royal chambers. Upon his arrival, a large guard helped him down from the gurney and made haste to open the chamber doors. The king stepped inside and waited to hear the guard shut the door behind him. Upon their bed, he heard his wife as she wept. His slow footsteps approached her. His long arms and thin hands reached up and opened the glittery gold canopy curtain. Apprehensive of her sharp nails and cat-like reflexes, he sat down beside Hatshepsut. His touch was hesitant. He knew she was jealous and upset with him because of his wandering eyes.
"Are you all right, my love?"
The pharaoh placed gentle hands on Hatshepsut's shoulders and massaged. "Why did you leave the celebration for our son?" Relaxed and comforted by her husband's touch, Hatshepsut displayed her desire for his strong hands given to her. She turned over on her back. "Forgive me, my lord. This pregnancy has me uneasy because the last 2 were stillborn." She sat herself up next to him. "I try not to worry." She leaned closer and rested her head against his chest. "You know how pregnancy stirs my emotions. The curse of death has been lifted from your womb, Hatshepsut." The king, moved with empathy, said, "You heard Hakauten's prophecy from the mouth of Amun-Ra himself. Do you not have faith in the gods? You have no need to worry, my love." "I lost faith in the gods after the death of our second son. If the gods truly exist, then they have shown me no mercy in my attempts to bear you a son." A cheerful smile removed her sad expression. She grabbed the king's hand and placed it on her belly. Her eyes brightened with happiness. "The life of our child moves within me." Thutmose II gasped. "My son lives! This time will be different, my love. The child hears the things you are saying. He moves that you may believe there is nothing to be worried about. Look at me! This child will change our lives and bring Kemet to new heights. Do you believe that?" Hatshepsut's teary eyes stared up at her husband. "I'll believe anything you tell me. Now swear to me on your life and our son's life that it is only your queen for whom you have eyes." Thutmose II, with great passion, sat down on the bed. "I swear on my life and our son's life that my eyes and love is only for my queen." His kiss on her mouth was tender. His thoughts were of Iset. Comforted by her lover, Hatshepsut fell asleep in his arms. Soft snoring told Thutmose II Hatshepsut had fallen asleep. He thought only of Iset. He slid off the royal bed and left the chambers. Outside, he said to the guard, "Have you prepared my arrangements?" The guard replied, "Yes, my lord. Everything as you like it is prepared and waiting." The pharaoh boarded his chariot and left the palace to meet Iset at his hideout. As his chariot rode away, Hatshepsut stood in the chamber window and watched from above. Quick on her feet, she hurried to her wardrobe and selected dark garments. She disguised herself as an ordinary Egyptian woman. From a steady pace, she followed the pharaoh on horseback. Careful to avoid detection, she kept a careful distance to muffle the galloping hooves behind him.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to I, Black Pharaoh, Rise to Power, Chapter 2. Make sure you go get yourself a copy on Amazon. I, Black Pharaoh, Rise to Power, Golden Age Edition. You can buy them right now on YouTube. But right now, we're going to give you a preview to the novel right here. Check this out. All right, that'll do it for me. Look out for the Culture Show, which will be coming soon, featuring myself and Sister Shay. Make sure you get yourself a copy. Be a subscriber. Go to www.aaaRIAEDU.com. Become a member. You'll get access to all of our events. All our virtual events, our in-person events as well. And you receive half off. Thank you for supporting the movement, IDP Media, ARIA, Ancient African Antiquities Research Institute of America. And we out.